Hello and welcome to Farming Simulator 25. It's been a while, guys, so I do apologise, just life getting away. But today I thought I'd do a little run through with the Moss Valley map, which is based in just on the outskirts of Sheffield in the UK. Moss Valley, it is an actual place, believe it or not. So I'm just going to do a little sort of show and tell what I've done so far and what I recommend, if you're just starting out on this map. There's a few things that you probably might need to do just to make things a bit better for you. So you can either, obviously take it or leave it. It's just advice. It's just how I do it. For those of you that have been playing for a while, you're also fully aware of what you need to do in that. But for those that are just sort of starting out, not too clued up on Farming Simulator, know a few bits, but just want to, hone that sort of knowledge and in sort of thing, and help you with that. So I've been playing this for about 13 hours solid, pretty much. Not in one sitting, of course, but no, over a sporadic, probably a month or so. So let's get up and running. Okay, so it's a bit jerky. Right, so what I'm going to do is go into construction mode quickly, just to make things easier. So this is the house you start off with. So we zoom out. It's a big area here. Okay, that's not snow, by the way. That's lime. I'll talk about it in a minute. But it's the house you start off with. You can't really go in it. I know in FS22, for example, like Court Farm, you used to be able to go into your house, but yeah, bought my little car, a little Skoda VXR, what we call it, which actually opens doors, and that's pretty cool. There's me, look. And I've installed this. It's a solar panel. This was fetching some money, and it's the field that I purchased when I first started this farm. This wasn't available. The only two fields that you have is this one here with the lime on, and this big field here. Okay, so a little taller farm then. So you come in this entrance here. Got a few sheds here in that. In the shed here is your combine harvester. Got the header there. A few little sheds down here. There's a little grain silo here. You drop your grain off where this trailer is. And then this is all your sort of animals, chickens, cows, pigs as well. I've installed this greenhouse here. And I've also installed a mushroom greenhouse, which grows mushrooms and that. So it's currently growing at the moment. A little shed down here, which I tend to keep my sort of field preparation tools, so like my driller, my cultivator, that sort of thing. So there's plenty of storage space. It's not a bad map. It is on also a hill, because you're in the valley, of course. So the tractors that you start off with don't have a lot of horsepower, and it's alright going down a field when you're like either I don't know what you call it, baling or cultivating, but going up the hill, this tractor seems to struggle. I find you're travelling about 3 miles an hour, if that. So I sold my tractors, my telehandler as well. You get this sort of green telehandler, and I've got a John Deere 6R series, which has enough horsepower to go up the hill, and also a Warrior, Dutchfart, is how you pronounce it, Dutchfart Warrior. Also got a Class 750 Trion. That came with the map. Pretty decent combine, to be fair. I've added a few things here. So I added this sort of fuel tank. This little tool here is your soil sampler. So for like precision farming, if you want to get an accurate sort of pH value and nitrogen value of your soil, it's definitely worth getting that. Little cartridge washer to clean my equipment. This windmill and these two windmills are obviously part of the map, but you don't get any income from them. You can't go in them either, so it's just purely decoration, pretty much. Shed here, I think this is your little what do you call it? Not silo. For your silage, to store it in there, pretty much. But I store my bales in there, pretty much. Can store anything. Got a decent Krone baler there. So this little thing on the back is pretty ingenious. it produces 3 square bales, and when all 3 square bales are on this, it drops them off in one go. So you don't have to go up and down the map all the time, you know, going for each sort of square bale like in groups of 3, which makes things a bit easier. So anyway, yeah. So if I remember right, when it's first start this field here was oats, and I believe this was wheat. Okay. My advice to you, when you first start off as a new farmer, so this is purely sort of those for you that are just sort of starting out. You know, for you advanced players, you do what you want, sort of thing. You know the farming simulator very well and all that. But for those that don't, I recommend starting off as a new farmer on Moss Valley. Start off with £1 million in your pocket and £1 million loan, or just £1 million is enough, to be fair. And you want to go into your settings. So what I do here, come out of that, go into settings. Now I think it's a known thing. It's a bit of a flaw with Farming Simulator. If we go to not general settings, sorry. Right, time scale. Now because you start on a map in August, there's no specific date. It just says August. That is basically the last day in August. So you've got to harvest both the wheat and oats in the same day. Otherwise, they're not wilting. So what I do is set it to real time, okay, and then change it. I tend to put 5 days per month. You know, you don't want any more than that, to be honest, because you'll be waiting for ages for your crops to grow. Now it's up to you what you want to do here. I tend to turn weeds off, fieldstone on, crop destruction off. Disaster destruction I'll keep on. You know, but yeah, you have to start off in real time, just so it gives you enough time to harvest both those fields, because the following month will also be September. That'd be too late to harvest crops, so you've just wasted an entire field, which will probably fetch in about 90k plus per field, I reckon, easily. And if you obviously, you know, if you enable your straw swath on your combine, you produce, like, you know, rows of straw which you can bale. That again, you can sell the bales. I've kept a few in a shed over here just for the future, you know, when I get my cows in, because they also need straw. And, like, you know, I don't think I'd get a horse on this map, to be honest, but that'll be enough easily to last a while, well until the next harvest. I love the decoration now, little random portaloos and stuff. It's yeah, it looks like a proper farmyard in a way. Just random bits of stone everywhere, which would be from the fields. So yeah, it's pretty much Moss Valley. So what we're going to do now is go into. So I'm just currently. So what I've done. So once you've something dropped off. Sorry. So once you've harvested all the fields and it's looking like this, not like this. Sorry. You need to cultivate both fields, and then you can either do it straight after the harvest or after cultivation. It don't really matter, but I highly recommend getting that soil sampler. So to find where that is, I think you have to download it. It's part of a mod, if I remember right. I can't quite remember where it is. Bear with me, guys. I think it's down in miscellaneous, if I remember right. This one. Yeah. So miscellaneous here, go across. It's the Scout Precision Farming mod. It is a bit pricey, but honestly it's well worth it, because that'll give you more of a detailed you know, soil information, whether you need to lime it or put more fertilizer down to increase your nitrogen value, for example. It also tells you the type of soil, so that'll bear that in mind as well. You know, what else does it do? It can also tell you, if you've got a crop sensor on your tractor, like I have, it'll tell you what the yield is potentially going to be. So if you're yielding like 64%, that's very average. If you want to increase that, you probably need to, I don't know, get the sprayer out, for example, increase the sort of nitrogen content of the soil. So what I'm doing now, because when you first start off on this map, once you've harvested both fields, you need to lime the fields. Okay. The great thing about this, you only have to do it once every third harvest, if I remember right. So this will be good for another, after this, another 3 harvests, to be honest. So the purpose of this then, lime is also calcium carbonate. You know, I'm not going to teach you to suck eggs, but the nitrogen, not the nitrogen, the pH is very low, so acidic in other words, and we need to neutralise that with calcium carbonate, which is basically lime. This little white stuff here. And we need to, once we've done that, we then need to cultivate it into the ground again. So that's what I'm pretty much doing now. I've got the GPS tracking system on as well. So for those of you that are sort of new and don't know how to do that, all you have to do is hold down circle, and then you want to scroll off to the right, steering assist. It'll tell you how many headlands you want. I usually stick to 2 on this one. Working direction. Where's my working direction? Bear with me. So I'm doing it vertical just because. Show lines as well. That's quite handy. You can set the direction of where you want to go. So I'm going up and down the field. It was telling me to do. Sorry, the automatic setting was doing like horizontal across the field. That's just wasting, you know, space. In other words, if you go vertical, you get more sort of. It's more efficient, shall I say? So anyway, that's pretty much it. What you have to do is, once that's activated, you press circle, which then the middle line goes green, and then activate cruise control, and you're pretty much away. It's that easy, guys. So I'm just currently cultivating at the moment. So as I said, I brought a field over there, so I'm just going to stop this briefly, go into construction mode. Okay, so this field, if I remember right, is soybeans, if I remember right. This I've purchased off a farmer. This is actually a really big field as well. I know in FS22 you got this field as well, so you had this field and the 2 fields here, but for some reason in FS25 you only get those 2. So I bought this one anyway because it's literally on the right at the back of my house. I thought, why not? So that'll be ready in September, 5th of September. That'll be ready in October. Okay, I've got until the end of October. No, sorry, I haven't. I lie. Hold on. Bit of a tight turnaround here, guys, for me. Because right. So soybeans. Oh, I've got until the end of November to harvest that, so that's not too bad. But then again, I want to drill some barley, and I think I might do wheat as well. I need to get that planted by the end of October. So I've got to purchase the seed and all that. It's going to be a fair bit of money. I've got like 5 days after this one to drill both these fields and then roll the fields straight after. So that's going to be quite a bit of a tight turnaround. And then I've got to harvest the soybeans in the other field. That'll take a good day or 2 for that. In this, you know, not in real time, but in a game time. And then I think I'm going to use that big field over there. What's got the soybeans in is an oat field. The oats are planted later on. Planting season March to April. So I'm going to potentially do that. And then once I've got these drilled and harvested, so once I've done these 2 fields, I've drilled them, harvest that field over there, and I'm going to get some animals on this map. So what I'm going to do is quickly head over. I'll show you these greenhouses very shortly. I've also installed a water tank as well to fuel the greenhouses pretty much. So in here, door's not opening. There we are. This is the pig pasture, or will be the pig pasture. And then over here, I believe, chicken coop. So they're not free range. I'm all for free range animals. You know, I don't like them installed into these sort of sheds, to be honest. But I might add a separate another pig pasture. So I don't think there's any cow. Oh, there is cow. Sorry, yeah, there is in here, if I remember right. Yeah, cow barn. There we are. So yeah, I love my animals. I like to be flipped. I know it's just a game, but I like to treat animals, you know, with the best lives I possibly can. So I probably might just do a little chicken coop or might throw a sheep pasture somewhere. I don't know, but anyway, let's go to the mushroom house, greenhouse. So it just reminds me of Clarkson's farm, where he's having to wear a respirator, and he goes down and all his mushrooms have moulded and it produces horrible smell. But anyway, this is the mushrooms that are currently growing, so they'll be up for sale. That'll fetch in some decent money. And then we head over to the greenhouse. So they are a bit expensive. This greenhouse is about 36k, but they produce a lot of produce. The only thing you have to do is add water. It is that easy, guys. And then all you do, you just click L3 here, the spin to production chain. So I've got 20% water. I probably need to add more water shortly. It's a large greenhouse. Chili peppers, garlic, lettuce, cabbage, onions, strawberries, and tomatoes. And then in my mushroom house, got enoki, as I pronounce it, and oyster mushrooms. So yeah. So I'm still fairly new to this map, but I do like this farm. I used to live in Sheffield for a good year or two on the sort of not far from Meadowhall. Guys know where Meadowhall is, or Meadow Hell, as I like to call it, because it's always chocker on a Saturday afternoon. But yes, it's on the outskirts of Sheffield in Moss Valley, which is an actual valley. So it's a nature valley. It's. I think if I go on my maps, actually, you can actually see if I zoom out. So I'm guessing all this housing over there is like the beginnings of like Sheffield, north of this map. You can't visit that, I'm afraid. This is the only areas that you can sort of visit. But yeah, it's highly detailed, which I like. But anyway, that is it for pretty much Moss Valley. I will be doing more videos on this map as well. I've sort of given up on Oak Bridge Farm. I just find that, I don't know, I find that it's crashed a couple of times. FS22 used to be worse for that. And it's also quite buggy. I mean, here, like, when I'm ploughing, you can still see patches of the white. So there's still a few bugs in these maps that Giant need to sort of be aware of and try and rectify, because this is meant to be miles better than FS22, and it is, but it's still got lots of graphic issues, in my opinion. It's meant to be quite realistic in terms of like ground deformation and stuff like that, and you got all these like, when you're cultivating, these patches still sort of show. It just looks a bit, yeah, I think it could do a lot better, to be honest. There's still a lot of bugs in this game. It's been out for a good nearly 2 years almost, I think. But don't get me wrong, it's a great game. It is miles better than previous FS22s. FS22, sorry. FS simulators, of course, we all know that. But yeah, the lighting in this game, they've done absolutely spot on. When you wash your vehicle as well, there's all like water droplets on it. That's really cool. I love that. The soil looks more realistic. Yeah, they've done really well. But I just think, obviously, these games will have the teething problems, but I think the next farming simulator will be probably Farming 27, I reckon, because they always seem to skip a year for some reason. On consoles anyway. I know on the Nintendo Switch you had FS24. Or was it 23? I think it was 23, yeah, it was 23. There's been no 24. So yeah, it's a bit sporadic in terms of the years, but this game will be, going for a good year or two, I reckon, before the next one comes out. But I'm happy with it. Absolutely love it. I spent a lot of time on this, to be honest. It's just a very peaceful game. You can get lost in this sort of world of farming simulator. If you like your farming, as I do, I've always loved farming since I was a young lad. Into my farm toys, into my tractors, combines and that, my animals as well. It's a great game for that. It caters for all ages, not just for, kids. I'm 36, I play this. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. There's guys are on TikTok as well, you know, probably same age or older than me that play this, you know, a lot, especially on like TikTok lives, which I've seen. But anyway, I've rambled on too much, guys. If you've got any questions on this Moss Valley farm or in farming simulator in general, please do comment below. And watch your space for more Moss Valley farming simulator videos. And again, thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, please do give me a like and a follow. It'll be greatly appreciated. And see you again soon, guys. Take care.